Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. So today, for this video, my group and I were going to conduct a simple hacking and countermeasures method demonstration to show briefly the overview of how a certain types of cyber attacks could happen to us and how to defend against it. So the attack method included are session hijacking, SIM flight, and malware attacks. Meanwhile, for the defense method, we are going to perform intrusion detection method, which is IDS, and encryption. So through this project implementation, we are able to study each of the threat and vulnerabilities characteristic and behavior, as well as mastering ways to deal with these threats by performing effective countermeasures procedures, which will be proven at the end of this video. Hi, my name is Nur Anis Zulaikha from JCS1104C. So today, I'm going to demonstrate simply on how to conduct session hijacking attacks for this group project. So, one of the most common network risks is session hijacking. It is an extremely sneaky approach of attacks that apply intrusion concepts of attack. So, attack on busy network with a huge number of available communication sessions are the most likely occurrence for unauthorized access. Session hijacking is one of the cyber attacks which exploit a valid user web session in a network to impersonate an authorized user. So to put it in another way, the attackers will hijack the session and gain access to potential privileged and sensitive data. So there are a few ways of how session hijacking is possible to be conducted, and one of it is session pre-session method. So session pre-session occurs when the attackers get a legitimate session ID from a web page and then lure the victim to log in with the previous ID without them knowing what. So once the login is successful, the attacker now has gained access to the victim's account or transaction by using the known session ID. Alright, so for this project, I'm going to demonstrate the step-by-step on how to perform session hijacking or session fix session using both tools by performing some vulnerability scanning to retrieve the cookie information or session IDs. And also, I'm going to use two different Kali machines, which is I have named it as Kali and Kali 2. So first, open up Web Suite app. Under the port C option tabs, make sure the port C configuration is setting in this way, which is 127.0.0.1 with a port number of 880 or any unused port. Alright, so or else you also can use the Bulb's embedded browser, which have been automatically configured so you don't have to do this step. But for this demonstration, I'm going to use it manually. And then under intercept tab, make sure the intercept button is currently on. Alright, and then we need to get the IP address of Kylie. So in the terminal, we need to type rfconfig. Right, so here we have the IP address 192.168.100.5. So we need to save this IP to use it later. Alright, and then open the browser. Right, so for this demonstration, I'm going to use this website, Jahirah. Click on this link. Alright, so in the login page, I'm going to log in as usual. So here the user ID and then the password. Click login. Alright, so here I have successfully go go to the I have successfully accessed the website. Alright. And then once the login is successful, we go to setting preference. We need to change the network setting. So network settings. So here we need to configure the proxy access by checking the menu proxy configuration button and ensure that the HTTP proxy is the same as being configured previously in the box suite, which is 127.0.0.1, the same port, which is 880, and then click OK. So the reason we do this is to allow the box suite to capture the browse information of the current page, the current web page. Alright. So in the box suite, under the target sitemap, here it's supposed to display the list of all browse information, but here it doesn't appear. So we need to off the intersect button and then go back to the browser and refresh the page. Alright, so here in the target sitemap, it have successfully displayed all of the browse information of demo.guru99. So here, under the request window, we can see the cookie string of the current web page, which is here. So we need to copy this string and pass it on another machine, which is Kalito. So to do this, we need to open Kalito menu, and then we use with text editor. And use this command /var/www directory /index.html file. Right, so here it will open up the index.html file. So I'm going to make a simple HTML and paste the cookie previously. And then save the file, HTML, index.html, overwrite, click button yes. So here I have successfully saved the index.html file. And then close. So to install LeafPad, since the LeafPad text editor is not default text editor for Kali machine, previously I have installed it by using this command: sudo apt-get install LeafPad. So I use this command and successfully installed it before. Alright, and then so after this we need to use Apache to service. So I also use this command to install the Apache to service, since it doesn't have as default. So this is the command: sudo apt-get install Apache. Right. So after we have installed the Apache 2, we're going to use this command, service Apache, to start. Okay, now here we have done. Alright, and then next, in Kali2 virtual machine, we need to log in. We need to search the same website, which is Bangalore 99. The whole Bangalore 99. Click on the link. But the difference is in Kali2 virtual machine, we're not going to. Right, so okay, next, here we have done, and then next in the Kali2 virtual machine, we're going to search the same website, but at this time we don't have to log in. So click on the link. Alright, so from here we need to open up a new browser in Kali2 and write http:// the previous IP address of Kali, which is 192.168.100.5. Alright, so now it will display the cookie that we have placed in index.html file previously. So this is the session ID. Alright, so we're going to edit this into the web page in Kali2. So here, open the cookie editor extension, and we're going to change all cookies one by one. And save NGA. And assign the session ID. Alright, so now we have all of these cookie have been displayed, all the cookie of the web page. Okay, so now the cookie of this web page on Kali2 machine is currently have been replaced with a session ID with all the cookies the same as JCS1104C web page that have successfully logged in. So after you have seen all the cookies that have been replaced, refresh the web page. Alright, so unfortunately, this website does not allow this method from happening. So as a corrective action, we need to use or find suitable website that allow this attack method. So in this case, as a recap, the website open the virtual machine is the one whose session ID or cookies is stolen, and the other one is where the session ID is recreated. So this tutorial is aimed to prove the concept in general, how to implement session fixation, and how to take advantage of the use of multiple machines. Alright, so in another way, we can copy the web page of JCS1104C and then open a new browser from Kali2. And then it will and then okay. So here we're going to try to So or else session fixation also could happen if for example Kali machine is the attacker machine and Kali2 is the victim machine, where the ID of the attacker of this of the bank account is 657, and the victim is 252. Alright, so this is two different people or two different users of this website. So if the attacker share the link with the victim and let the victim to use the same link by that contain his session ID, he can perform the session fixation. For example, here incognito, the victim have opened the link that the attackers have shared, and then he or she proceed to log in as usual. So he will enter the user ID and password of himself, of the victim himself, and then log in. So from here we can see that both the victim and the attacker have different account, but we can see here that the session ID, the cookie, especially the session ID of both users are the same, which is vulnerabilities to the victim. So here we can see that it is the same. So once the attacker refresh his own web page, we can see that now the attacker has the access to the victim account, which is 252. So here is how simply the session fixation can happen. So as defense, as a corrective action, every user must be careful before entering any link that have been given by unknown users. So to conclude that, to prevent session hijacking, the system needs to apply encryption of the data traffic by using SSL or TLS protocol, or otherwise it also can be defended by using IDS or VPN method. And also, some services must change the value of the cookie with each and every request to reduce the risk of session hijacking attacks. So that's all from me. Thank you.
Hi, Assalamualaikum, I'm Jahirah. My part, I'm going to present and demonstrate the denial of service DOS attack, and I choose simple attack as my offensive method. What is simple attack? Simple attack is the form of denial of service attack, known as TCP SymFlood, because SymFlood use the TCP protocol. And simple also use blocking concept, because SymFlood will flood the system until the legitimate user cannot access the server, commonly known as an exploitation of three-way handshake. Three-way handshake is between the client and the server using the acknowledgement. Simple attack can occur in three ways. The first one is direct attack, which is the hacker not masking the device IP address. Second one is spoof attack. The hacker will spoof every SIM packet's IP address. And the last one is distributed denial of service DDoS, which is the hacker will use botnet so that their identity will be safe. Next is how simple attack works. Simple will exploit the three-way handshake between the client and the server. The attacker will send the SIM request repeatedly to the server until the server down and the legitimate user cannot access the server. At here is the figure of three-way handshake. This is the normal one. So I will explain the normal three-way handshake process. At the left side, we have client, and the right side, we have server. So the client will send the SYN request to the server, and the server will respond SYN ACK to the client. If this client is the legal user, it will send an ACK back to the server. However, if the client is a hacker, it will send the SYN request repeatedly to the server, and the server will keep respond SYN ACK to the client, I mean the hacker, but the client will not respond an ACK to the server, and let the server in half open connection. So after so many SYN requests sent to the server will down and shut down, so that the legitimate user can access the server, but the hacker can consume all the resources of the server. Next is I will demonstrate the SYN flood attack using Kali Linux as my attack machine and Windows 7 as my target machine. So the tool used is hashping3.
Okay, for my part, I'm going to demonstrate the SYN flood attack. So Kali Linux will be my attack machine, and my Windows 7 will be the target machine. So I already opened the task manager of my Windows 7 for the proof if my SYN flood will be success. And here I'm going to type hashping to help to see the codes I need to launch my attack. And here I'm going to choose from the IP section the -A to spoof my source address. My source is Kali Linux, so I will use this -A to spoof my Kali Linux IP address. Okay, and then I will use this -S and -P for in my SYN flood command. The -S is for SYN flood flag. Okay, because I choose to demonstrate the SYN flood, so I will use this -S to initiate the SYN request, while the -P is to push flag, which is I want to set how many SYN requests I will send to the target machine. So I will clear the terminal first. Okay, at here I type sudo because I want to use the Kali Linux default root. So here I type hashping3 to start my SYN flood command. So I put the -S first because I want to initiate SYN flood attack. So Kali will auto in the SYN flood mode. So at another terminal, I type ifconfig to find my Kali Linux IP address, which is 10.0.2.4. So back to the root Kali terminal. So I will type my Kali Linux IP address, which is 10.0.2.4. So I type the -A to start spoofing my Kali Linux IP address. And then here is the cmd command in my Windows 10. Okay, there is the IP address of my Windows 10. So I copy it and just paste after the -A. And -P to initiate the push flag. So I will set to 135, and for the last touch I will put --flood. I'm going to find Wireshark. Okay, this is the Wireshark. I'm going to choose ETH0. Okay. Okay, for this command, I will enter it to start the simple attack. Okay. The Kali already launched the attack. Okay, there is the CPU, and then back to the Wireshark. So the Kali does send the SYN request to the target machine. So the destination is my Windows 10. See the CPU performance, which is the Windows 10 performance. So I think that's all from the SYN flood attack. So thank you.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. My name is Nur Aribah Damia binti Yasiman. My ID number is 2019-23738. Today I will explain about my attack, which is malware attack. What is malware? Malware is the term refers to malicious software that breaches computer and network through vulnerabilities. For example, user click dangerous email attachment or links and install risky software. Malware can do the following, which is taking control of your machine and monitor your actions and keystroke. The techniques that I use is send malicious payload. What is payload? Payload is the portion of the malware which performs malicious action. The term is borrowed from transportation, where payload refers to the part of the load that pays for transportation. How to send? First, I create a link and then send the link to the victim. Once victim click the link, it will start downloading. After downloading, victim will execute and run it, and the attacker, which is me, can take control of the victim's machine. The tools that I use is Metasploit. What is Metasploit framework and how is it used? The Metasploit framework is a very powerful tool which can be used by cyber criminals as well as ethical hackers to probe systematic vulnerabilities on networks and servers. Because it's an open source framework, it can be easily customized and used with most operating systems. With Metasploit, the pen testing team can use ready-made or custom code and introduce it into a network to probe for weak spots. As another flavor of threat hunting, once flaws are identified and documented, the information can be used to address systemic weaknesses and prioritize solutions. The concept or theory is all an attacker needs to do is inject malware into the computer, which will then install itself into the browser without the user's knowledge. The malware will then record the data and that is being sent between the victim and specifically targeted websites. I am an attacker of this group. Today I will perform the malware attack. Okay, first we have to find out our IP address. Alright, this is our IP address. And then we have to launch the MSF console. This will take a time. Alright, we are in the MSF console, and then we will write down the exploit /windows /misc HTA server. Because we are attacking Windows, so we'll use Windows here. If you are attacking the Android, then change Windows to Android. Then click enter. Okay, and then first you have to set your lhost. Write down your IP address. Set your server host. Use the same IP address for server host. And then we will set the payload. Meta parm /rebus TCP. Alright, then you will set your L port. And then exploit. Alright, this is our link that we will give to our victim, and when once they click on the link, that will give us full access in the system. Okay, first write down your link to and then go to your server Windows. Enter the link. SRU T2 KEI.HTA. Enter. And we are finished downloading. Okay, go to the folder, and then here is our software, fixed software. And then when user click on it and then run, go to the Kali Linux. See, the server has started. We will wait a minute. And then yeah, the MetaPredator Season 1 open. Click enter. Click seasons. And then this will give you the username and the computer victim name. We can enter the seasons/I want to connect over into the season. So here that we are in, we have full complete control of the entire computer system. It's starting interaction with season 1. And then we will write down this command. Okay, this command will give you the detail of the computer. This is the detail. And then we are successful control the entire machine, and our attacking is successful. Thank you. The conclusion that I want to share is how to prevent from malware attack. First, install antivirus and anti-spyware software. Antivirus and anti-spyware programs scan computer files to identify and remove malware. Be sure to keep your security tools updated, immediately remove detected malware, and audit your files for missing data, errors, and unauthorized additions. Second, use secure authentication methods like your password, use 8-lang password like that. And then third, use administrator accounts only when absolutely necessary, which is malware often has the same privileges as the active user. Non-administrator accounts are usually blocked from accessing the most sensitive parts of a computer or network system. Therefore, avoid using administrative privilege to browse the web or check email. And then logging as an administrator only to perform administrative tasks, such as to make configuration changes. And then lastly, install software using administrator credentials only after you have validated that the software is legitimate and secure. Okay, for the risks and limitation, I only can attack the machine in the same network. I can attack outside the network, and then I have to make sure to turn off my machine, my Windows machine, turn off my Windows machine firewalls and Windows Defender before starting to attack. Thank you. And that's all from me.
Assalamualaikum, I am Tuan Nur Azlina binti Tuan Ibrahim, and I'm going to demonstrate how to defend against malicious activity and create rules using IDS not. So IDS stands for Intrusion Detection System. The techniques and method on which an network which an IDS is found on are used to monitor and reveal malicious activity both on the host and network level. Once the said activity occurs, then an alert is issued to aware everyone of the attack. If the hardware or software, it can be hardware or software or a combination of both. And IDS is used both signature and anomaly based on technique together or separately. Again, it depends on the requirement. So your network topology determines where to add the intrusion detection system. Whether it should be positioned at one or more places, it depends on how you want to track, whether you want to track the internal threats or the external threats. So for instance, if we want to protect ourselves from external traffic attack, then we should place IDS on the router. And if we want to protect the inner network, then place the IDS on every network segment. So categories of IDS, we have two: signature based IDS and anomaly based IDS. And then for type of IDS, we have also two, which is NIDS, stand for Network Intrusion Detection System, and SNOT is one of the example for it, and HIDS.
stands for Host Intrusion Detection System, which obviously act as hosts such as IDS monitor system and application log to detect intruder activity. Some IDS react when some malicious activity takes place. Others monitor all traffic coming to the host where the IDS is installed and give alert in real time. So one example for HIDS is Solar Wind Security Event Management. And so for this demo, I'm going to demo using Snort. Snort is quite popular and is an open source software which helps to monitor network traffic in real time. Hence, it also can considered as a packet sniffer. Basically, it examines each and every data packet in the depth to see if there is any malicious payload. It can also use for protocol analysis and content searching. It is capable of detecting various attacks like port scan, buffer overflow, and is available for all platforms, including Windows, Linux, and other. It doesn't require any recompilation of the system or hardware to add to your distribution, but it requires root privilege, and also it inspects all the network traffic against the provided set rules, then alert the administration about any suspicious activity. Does not have three operational modes, which is packet sniffer, packet logger, or an IDS, network intrusion detection system. So firstly, before starting, I want to explain a little bit on the rules setup for Snort. So Snort use a flexible rules language to describe traffic that should collect or pass. So this is the construction of the rules. So I'm going to explain it. For the rules action, we have a few selection whether we want to alert, which is to generate an alert and the selected alert methods and then log the packet. And also we have app option log for the rule action, which is to log the packet, pass to ignore the packet, active to alert and then turn on another dynamic rule, and dynamic remain idle until activated by an active rule, then act as a log rule. Or we can drop the packet, which is block and log the packet, or we can reject, which is block the packet, log it, and then send TCP reset if the protocol is a TCP, or an ICMP port UDP. So we also can have a rule action of sdrop. So sdrop is to block the packet and do not log it. So for protocol, we have four, which is TCP, UDP, ICMP, and IP. So for this source address, so the arrow, which is we would call direction operator, is indicate the direction of the traffic. For example, for this here is one-way traffic, which is means the external attack will go into the home net, and then we also have this one here, which is we call bi-directional traffic. And also for the source, we have any for any port and static port definition, range also on also notation, which is exclamation point, which is could be an, for example, like exclamation point, which is could explain the not. So you are going to see this better in the live demo. So I'm just briefly explain. And also we have rule option here, which is general. This option provide information about the rules but do not have any effect during detection. And also payload. So this rule option all look for data inside the packet payload and can be interrelated. And lastly, non-payload, and this option look for non-payload data. So without wasting time, we are moving on to the demo. Okay, so this is not installed in the router, which is OS Ubuntu. So for those who doesn't have it, you can easily install using this command. So in this server, I already installed it here. And then this is the network architecture, which is attacker is Kali Linux, and then the victim is Windows 7, and then the router is the Ubuntu. But in this live demo, I have a few hardware problem, which is my laptop cannot open 3 OS at the same time. So I have to attack directly from Kali Linux to the router. So first thing that we're going to do is to configure this node. This is the file configuration. So directly we are going to set the home net address, which is the IP address for this OS here using ifconfig. And then moving on for the external net, here we put exclamation point, which is not home net. So we are going to track the other traffic that is not the internal network. So here's a few rules that has been commented out because I want to test the local rules here. So this is why IDS is one of the best, I could say like the first layer of protection for malicious activity, because it is easy to install and it has a directed rules, which for example this DOS and malware attacks. Here's a few rules for malware, and then I'm going to test out the connection between the router and the attacking machine. So here I'm going to open the local rules file because I already create some rules for ping actually. Here in local rules I already create ICMP. So if any network come into the home network and pinging, so it will alert when someone is pinged. So here we could run snot using this command. So I here means interface, which is we are going to sniff on the this and post tree, and C is to open directory of the configuration, and then A for console. So now the snot is running. I'm waiting for the Kali Linux actually to boot up and to ping. So it takes for a while. Okay, so now we are going to try to test the connection actually, and we're going to ping the server. Okay, once we ping, we could see directly that the snot alert us using our local rules, someone ping you, which is the rules that we created here. And then now I'm going to show how we are going to create rules against a simple attack. A few brief on the simple attack. So a simple attack occurs when a host becomes so overwhelmed by the TCP SYN packets initiating incomplete connection request that it can no longer process legitimate connection request. So SNOT has to detect the multiple packet from different source direct to the same victim. So first we are going to put the rule action, which is alert, and then the protocol TCP, and then the source of attack, which is external net that coming from any, and then we are going to put the direction operator into the home net, and then with a message of SYN plot attack. This is our flags keyword. Is used to check TCP flag is set, and then we are going to put on the detection filter. So here we are going to put the track by DST, which means the keywords tracked by the destination IP, and then count, which means the count number of the events, and second keywords means time period over which the and then we put on seed for the reference of the rule, and then save the file, and then now we have to execute the snot in the terminal using this command. Also, I have a few syntax error here. I made the dash on I. So let me fix that real quick. Okay, now the snot is running, and then we are going to go to the attacker machine to test hiding with simplot. Okay, now on real time does not quickly alert us on the TCP simplot attack. So now we can see there are few every time the attack happen. So moving on, I'm going to show on a few other rules that is pre-installed inside this node. So for example, is the virus rules. So here, I already commented this out because I'm going to test the local rules. But here we could see the alert on TCP which from the, and it already is lots of rules that were already inside this node. So as a conclusion, from this, a stock can work both and on IDS and IPS. In IDS mode, intrusion detection mode, it can just alert, raise an alert or lock the packet. But in IPS mode, there are other available action, which is we could either activate alert and then turn on dynamic rule. So dynamic rule will remain idle until activated by the active rule, which is we could drop, which is block the packet and log it, and reject the packet, block the packet, and then send it to the TCP. This is just a few of the action rule that I already explained firstly. This is why SNOT is popular and widely used to protect the network of the organization. The SNOT detects the attacker based on the predefined set rules, which are easy to write and modify. So with that, I thank you.
Hi, Assalamualaikum. My name is Khairunnajwa and my matrix card number is 2019242206. Today I will present and do a demonstration for encryption process using OpenSSL in Kali Linux. Encryption is one of the most important pieces of the security architecture, where it scrambles a message or other information so that it cannot be easily read. The fundamental principle of encryption is actually rather simple. Messages must be altered such that they cannot be readily read by an enemy, but can be easily deciphered by the intended receiver. Encryption includes older techniques like Caesar cipher and Virginia cipher, and also modern techniques. Modern encryption techniques are symmetric and asymmetric encryption. The same key is used to encrypt and decode a message in asymmetric encryption, also known as single key encryption. Asymmetric encryption, often known as public key encryption, uses a public key to encrypt a message and a private key to decode it. Moreover, for asymmetric encryption, you may freely share your public key, allowing anybody to encrypt and send you a message, but only you have the private key and can decode the message. The tools that we are going to use for this demonstration is OpenSSL. OpenSSL is an open source command line tool that has the implementation of the SSL and TLS protocols, and is often used to generate private keys, create CSRs, and other things needed for encrypting and also decrypts a message or data. It also implements basic cryptographic functions and provides various utility functions. We use this tool in Kali Linux.
Alright, to start with, we need to install the OpenSSL tools first inside our Kali. To install it, we need to type this. We need to type this command to install the OpenSSL inside our Kali machine. So since I already installed it, I'm gonna verify that I am already successfully installed the OpenSSL by typing this command. Right. So here it shows that I already downloaded the OpenSSL version 1.1.1i. So done with the installing, we now can do the next step, which is to generate the key pair. So to generate the key pair, we need to type this command. I name the key pair that I generated as the tutorial security.key. You can name it in whatever name you want, but put the dot key as the file format
and then we enter. So done generating the RSA private key. Now we want to extract the public key out from the key pair that we just generate, because when we generate a key pair, the private key and public key is in the same file. So we want to extract the public key out and put it in other file, not in the same file as with the private key, because public key can be shared but private key cannot be shared, so they need to be in the separate file. So now we need to extract the public key. To extract the public key, we need to use this command. We take the key pair file, hop out, we put it in a new file named tutorial security underscore public dot key. Right, we enter. Extracting file success, and then next we want to create a CSR, or in the full name, certificate signing request. So here we want to do this self-signing certificate, not the CA sign certificate. So to create a CSR, we type this command: OpenSSL request new key using the private key, all tutorial security.csr. Enter. So now we need to fill in a few information. So I just use some dummy data. So country name MY, state JB, locality JB, organization name, since I don't have organization, I'm just gonna write tutorial security. Unit, I also just tutorial security. Common name star.tutorial security.com. Email address, you can put a dummy email, test.com. So I'm gonna just put like dot, because if you enter dot, the field will be left blank. So and then we're done with that, and then we want to verify the CSR. So we do OpenSSL request text in tutorial security.csr. We take the CSR file and then we verify. Alright, so now we successfully verified. So verify OK, certificate request. Here is all the information. And now we want to self-sign the certificate. So to self-sign the certificate, we need to type this command x509 in tutorial CSR. We self-sign, so .crt is main .certificate. So we self-sign the certificate signing request, and then we make another file to put this self-signed certificate that we just do in another file. So out crt request sign key tutorial. We sign using our private key, days 365. Enter. So now signature is okay. So then we're done. We already done doing the certificate. We already done generate the key pair, the public key, and that's all. Alright, so now we want to start encrypt and decrypt using the symmetric encryption first, where we want to encrypt using the public key and decrypt using the private key. for this example, this is within the same folder. So here I have a test file that I want to encrypt. So to encrypt, we need to generate public and private key first. So to generate by a private and public key, we need to type this new key RSA 490 wait 4096, then key out. This is my private key name, example.privatekey.pem out. So in this coding, we generate and then we extract things at the same time. So next. So we enter. Wait a little bit. Alright. So here we just put in some information just like how we did before. So my jb. Alright, and then next we want to encrypt a file. So to encrypt a file, we do this command: OpenSSL as mime encrypt binary text. We encrypt using the AES256 encryption format. So we encrypt text file named test, and then we put the encrypted version of the test file in another file called test.enc. So out from der using the public key example.public.pm. Right, so we enter. Okay, done. So in here they didn't like stated if we successful or not. So to see if we successful, we just type cat test this to look in the content of the file.test.enc. So here is the encrypted version of the test file. So now we want to decrypt this file. So to decrypt this file, we put the test.enc because we want to decrypt the test.enc file. Binary inform dem in key. We decrypt using the private key because it's symmetric encryption out, and then we put the decrypted version in another file called test unencrypted.txt. Okay. Test unencrypted.txt. Okay, we enter. Okay, done. So again, they didn't stated that we are successful or not. So to confirm that we are successful decrypted, we just type cat test to see the content. Alright, so we successfully decrypted the test file. So next example, we want to apply using encryption, where we want to encrypt a file using a certificate and decrypt a file using the private key. this is asymmetric encryption. So we want to use the certificate and the key that we created at first, the tutorial security dot certificate and tutorial security dot key. So to encrypt using a certificate, we just type the command, actually very similar to the command that we just typed to encrypt using the symmetric encryption. So now we use the file named test2. So we out as test2.exe out form we are using the tutorial security dot certificate. Right, enter. Oh, alright. Test2. Using tutorial security certificate. Okay. Enter. Alright, done. So to confirm, we just look at the content. Right. This is the encrypted version. So to decrypt using the private key, using the tutorial security.key, and then we output the decrypted version in another file called test2 unencrypted dot txt. Okay. Right. So enter. Right. Again, to confirm that we successfully decrypt, we just do cat test2 unencrypted dot txt. Right. That's all for symmetric and asymmetric encryption in the same folder. Different folders or directory. So first, we need to create the directory first. Okay. We create the directory for B also. Alright. So here in A, we want to generate key. First, of course, we need to generate key for both directories. So we generate key for A first. A pair a.pm key size 2048. Enter. Generating the RSA public key, and then for Buso, right, and then we want to extract the public key out. because we don't want the private key and the public key in the same file. PAM pop out. So we extract the public key out and put in the file called public.a.pm. What's wrong? Okay. So enter. Alright. Then we do the same thing for directory B. We extract the public key out and then put in file name public.pm. Alright, and then done with generating and extracting the key, we want to share the public key between each other. So we want to share public key A to directory B and public key B to directory A. So to share, we need to type this command link as. So this is our directory from the main file to the public, where the file that locates the public key. So mostly error will come here because different machine got different directories. So make sure to double check the directory so that we don't encounter any error. So enter. Okay, done. Do the same thing for directory B2. So we want to take public key A, enter. Alright, done. So how to check if we really already like share the public key to each other? So just type ls to see what file we have in our folder A. So we have private key A, public key, and also key B. So in B we have public key A and also public. So here we want to encrypt. So we do a message file first. So for example, my account number, like that. So my main message, right? So we have message file. Alright, so we have message file. So in the message file, we want to encrypt this content. So to encrypt, RSA utilities, encrypt the message file, and then we put the encrypted version in another file called enc. We use directory B's public key. PEM pub in means public key in. I'm sorry. Public. Okay. Public b.pem. So we enter. Alright. So check. I'm sorry. ls. Right. So in here we have the encrypted version. We have the original message file. So that means we successfully encrypted. So we check the content of the encrypted. So we have the encrypted version of the message. So we want to share the encrypted file folders B, so that folders B can decrypt the file. So to just cp type in the directory. So the enc file, and then we move the encrypted file to folders B, and then in folders B we name the encrypted file as receive. Right. So if we check, we have the receive file, which is the encrypted file. So we decrypt here. Let's say utilities, decrypt. We decrypt the encrypted file name received, and then we output it as DEC message, mean decrypted message file. And okay. Again, the name of the file, you can name it whatever you want. So here we decrypt using folders B private key. So enter. Right, so we look at the list of the file here. So we have the message file and we have the receive file. Oh, what happened? Right. So we want to check the content of the decrypted file. We just simply cat right. So we have it. So the symmetric encryption between two folders is successful here. SSL RAC this, we sign the message file, we use the same, and then we output the sign file as signed, and then we use the private key because this is a symmetric encryption. Right, enter. Okay, now we have the sign file here, sign file. So next is for B to do the work, where B need to receive the file. So cp, type in the directory, make sure the directory is correct, and then we receive the sign file, and we move the sign file to directory B. So in directory B we name it as sign B. You can name it in whatever you want, but I want to name it as sign B. So enter. So we check, we have the sign B file, which is the sign file, and now we want to verify the signature, aka the decryption process. So we type in OpenSSL RSA utilities verify in. We want to verify the sign B file, and then we output the verified file name, maybe sign file, and then we use the public key to verify or to decrypt the file. .m. Okay, enter. So we have the sign file. So now we want to check the content of the sign file. Is it true? So yes, the content of the sign file is my account number is this. So the content of the encrypted file, we can take a look at it also. Sign B. Okay, this is the content of the encrypt or the signed file signed by A, and then this is the decrypted version of this signed file. So that's all from me for encryption demonstration. Thank you.
For OpenSSL, the limitation is that we use a self-signed certificate. We use this certificate said it is easy to implement and cost-effective. This certificate is still a valid security certificate, but it did not include all of the security protocols that CA signed certificates provide. Also, in this demonstration, OpenSSL can only support encryption between text files in the same machine and not the encryption process for server or websites. Therefore, this method may be lacking in security since it only encrypts a text file. In conclusion, encryption is the process through which data is encoded so that it remains hidden from or inaccessible to unauthorized users. It helps protect private information, sensitive data, and can enhance the security of communication between client apps and servers. In essence, when your data is encrypted, even if an unauthorized person or entity gains access to it, they will not be able to read it.